There comes a time in your life where you must learn to walk by faith and not by noise. A time when you must stop explaining, stop defending, stop broadcasting every move, and instead just believe. Some of you are tired, not because you're weak, but because you've been fighting battles with your mouth that were meant to be won with your spirit. I came to tell somebody today, you don't have to convince them. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to post it, tweet it, announce it. Just to believe in yourself and let God do the rest. Because sometimes your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Can I preach to somebody who's in a quiet season right now? You've been working in the shadows, crying behind closed doors, building when nobody's watching. But I declare today, your silence is not the end of your story. It's the soil where greatness is taking root. So lean in, hear me, don't miss this word. Because what I'm about to say might be the reason you hold on just a little longer. Just believe in yourself and stay silent. You've got to understand something deep in your soul. Not everybody's going to see what God showed you, and that's all right. You've been waiting for people to clap for something they can't comprehend. You've been hoping they'd encourage a dream that didn't come to them. But hear me, your purpose doesn't require their permission. The power to move forward, the courage to believe, the strength to keep pushing, none of that depends on outside approval. It starts in you. See, when you believe in yourself, really believe in yourself, you stop begging for validation. You stop shrinking to fit their expectation. You stop apologizing for being different, for thinking big, for walking with vision. Because vision is a lonely road sometimes. It's not crowded. It's not popular. It's not always comfortable. But it's yours. And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Belief is quiet. It's not loud. It doesn't always shout or announce itself. It's that fire burning inside when nobody else sees the smoke. It's that whisper that tells you, keep going even when your legs are tired and your heart is weary. Belief is standing up when it would be easy to sit down. Belief is showing up when it feels like nobody notices. Some of you have been waiting for someone to say, I see you. But I came to tell you, you don't need to be seen to be chosen. You don't need to be popular to be powerful. You don't need the applause of men when you've already been approved by God. Because if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life performing for people who don't even have a ticket to your destiny. They weren't there when you cried yourself to sleep. They didn't hold you when fear wrapped around your chest like a chain. They don't know the cost of the oil in your alabaster box. But you do. God does. And that's enough. That's why you've got to anchor your belief deep in your spirit. Not in your feelings, not in the feedback, not in the trends, but in the truth. The truth of who you are. The truth of who you're becoming. The truth of what you carry inside you. Because when the lights go off and the crowd goes home, it's not the compliments that will keep you. It's the conviction. You've got to believe when it doesn't make sense. Believe when the doors close. Believe when the opportunities pass you by. Believe when the people you counted on walk away. You've got to stand in the mirror and say, I still believe. Even when the reflection looks broken. Even when the dreams feel delayed. Even when doubt whispers louder than hope. Still believe, because the most dangerous thing the enemy can face is a silent believer. Someone who isn't boasting, isn't bragging, isn't trying to be seen, but is rooted, grounded, and unshakable in who they are. You don't have to say much when you know who you are. You don't have to fight every rumor. You don't have to chase every critic. When your belief is real, you don't need to prove it. You just live it. That's when life starts to shift. That's when the atmosphere begins to change. Because people might ignore your words, but they can't deny your dreams. They grow in silence before they ever make noise. That quiet space is not punishment. It's preparation. It's where your confidence matures. It's where your character catches up with your calling. It's where your roots grow deep. So when the winds blow, you're not moved by opinions or shaken by storms. See, some of us talk too soon. We get one idea and we post it. We get one opportunity and we shout it from the rooftop. But don't you know that premature exposure can kill potential? Don't you know that not everyone who smiles at you is for you? Not everyone who listens supports you. Some are just waiting for you to slip, waiting to see if the vision really comes to pass. That's why silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Ask Joseph. He shared his dream with the wrong people that landed him in a pit. Not because fruit. They may question your journey, but they can't argue with your results. They may mock your silence, but they'll respect your resilience. So if they don't clap, that's fine. If they don't see you, that's all right. If they don't believe in you, that's their loss. Because you didn't come this far for their applause. You came to walk in your calling. You came to fulfill your assignment. You came to break the cycle. You came to rise, even in silence. And when it's all said and done, your life will be the evidence. Your peace will be the answer. Your endurance will be the message. You don't have to shout when you shine. You don't have to scream when you succeed. Just believe, just walk, just build, just become. Because when you really believe in yourself, the silence becomes your strength and the promise becomes your platform. Just stay silent. Faith doesn't always shout from the rooftops. Sometimes faith is quiet. Sometimes it's invisible to everyone around you. Sometimes faith looks like waking up and doing it again. Not because you see the change, not because the breakthrough happened yet, but because deep down inside you believe something's shifting, even if you can't prove it yet. There is a kind of endurance that faith produces in you, a quiet kind, a steady kind. It's not loud and emotional. It's not always joyful and excited. It's not the kind of faith that dances every Sunday. No, this is the kind of faith that weeps and still keeps moving. This is the kind of faith that gets up with tears in its eyes. The kind that keeps sowing, keeps working, keeps believing, even when the harvest feels like it's never coming. And that's why PM, just believe. There's something sacred about silence. Something holy about holding your peace when everything in you wants to shout your plans, share your dreams, and tell the world what you're about to do. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep quiet. Because vision, when it's fresh, is fragile. It's like a newborn baby. You don't expose it to everything and everyone too soon. You don't hand it to just anybody. You don't parade it around for likes, validation, or claps. You protect it. You wrap it in wisdom. You guard it in silence. Not because you're ashamed, but because you understand how precious it is. There's a reason why some things are kept in the dark before they see the light. Seeds grow in soil before they break the surface. Babies grow in soil before they are revealed to the world. Gotta stay silent sometimes, because when you're really walking by faith, there's no time to keep explaining yourself to people who don't even have the capacity to carry what you're building. There's no room to constantly defend your moves, your steps, your decisions when you're being led by something they can't see. You can't waste your breath trying to give language to a leading they've never felt. So you walk, you trust, you endure, you keep showing up. People will wonder why you haven't given up yet. They'll look at your life and think, with all you've been through, how are you still standing? And you won't have a long explanation, you just smile. And if you say anything at all, it will sound like, I just believed. I just kept going. I just didn't stop. Because faith isn't proven in the moments when it's easy. You don't even have the language yet to describe what God is doing in your life. You can't explain it because you're still trying to understand it. You're still processing it, still praying through it, still figuring out how to carry something that's bigger than you. So don't be quick to speak on something still under construction. Don't label what's still becoming. Just breathe, just trust, just wait. There's something powerful about walking in purpose without announcing it. Moving in silence doesn't mean standing still. It means working while the world sleeps. It means building when nobody's watching. It means pushing when there's no crowd, no cheer, no applause, just your grit and your God. And one day, the very people who doubted you will look around and see what you built in silence. They'll ask, when did this happen? How? The dream was wrong, but because the timing was off. Ask Samson. He told his secret to someone who never had his heart, and it cost him his strength. Ask Jesus. He healed people and told them, tell no one, because even the Son of God knew the weight of divine timing. When the time is right, the fruit will speak. When the season is full, the silence will break with the sound of fulfillment. But until then, stay silent, stay hidden, stay focused. Let them wonder, let them guess. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't need to respond to every question, every doubt, every critic. When you're building something real, you don't have time to prove yourself. You're too busy laying bricks, pouring foundation, creating legacy. And let me say this. Sometimes your silence is not for them. It's for you. Because faith shows up when it's hard, when the doors are closed, when the answers are delayed, when the prayers feel unanswered. That's when real faith starts to rise up. That's when endurance begins to develop. And that's when silence becomes your sanctuary. Not because you're hiding, but because you're growing. You see, the enemy wants to distract you with noise. He wants you to get so caught up trying to explain, trying to convince, trying to be seen that you stop doing the thing you were called to do. But faith doesn't argue. Faith doesn't defend. Faith just works. Faith just shows up. Faith just builds even when nobody is watching. Even when it seems like nothing is happening. There's a blessing in the quiet grind. There's power in the silent push. Because when you don't have time to talk, when all you've got is that little, did you do this? And you don't need to say a word. Your success will say it for you. Your peace will scream louder than any post. Your endurance will shout louder than any speech. What you did quietly will make noise in the right season. So don't be discouraged if nobody sees you right now. Don't feel forgotten if your name isn't being called. God is hiding you on purpose, protecting what he planted, covering what he's cultivating. Because when he brings you out, when he shows you off, it won't be halfway. It won't be incomplete. It won't be immature. It will be ready. That's why you stay silent. That's why you don't respond to everything. That's why you don't explain what God is doing. Because what he's doing is bigger than what they can understand. And when the time is right, the vision will speak for itself. Bit of strength left to keep walking. That's when heaven is watching you the most. That's when the real battle is being won. Not out loud, not on the platform, not in the spotlight, but in the background, in the unseen places, in the shadows, where your character is being formed, where your heart is being tested, where your spirit is being stretched. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is not shout, it's show up. Sometimes the greatest move of God in your life isn't the miracle that shows up in a moment, but the grace to keep going when the miracle hasn't come yet. That's faith. That's endurance. That's strength. That's where giants are made. Don't let the quiet fool you. Don't let the silence make you think nothing is happening. God does his best work in the silence. When it seems like he's not speaking, he's still moving. When it feels like he's far away, he's still arranging. When you don't hear him, he's still holding you together. And when you keep walking in that silence, when you stay faithful in that space, that's where the oil starts to flow. You don't need a crowd to walk in purpose. You don't need a cheer section to stay obedient. Sometimes you got to learn how to encourage yourself. You got to say, I may not see it, but I believe it. I may not feel it, but I trust him. I may not understand it, but I'm not letting go. Because on the other side of that silent season is a breakthrough with your name on it. And when it comes, you won't need to explain anything. The years of faithfulness will speak for themselves. The fruit will shout louder than any words ever could. And the people who thought you were finished on your transformation, building your character, stretching your faith, teaching you how to trust him when there was no spotlight, no microphone, no platform, just him. And now you're ready, not because you feel ready, but because you stay. You stayed through the silence. You stayed through the misunderstanding. You stayed through the delay. You stayed when quitting would have been easier. And your staying power has qualified you for the prize. So when it starts to happen, when the doors open, when the favor flows, when the opportunity comes, don't waste time trying to explain how. You don't owe them a backstory. You don't need to convince the doubters. You don't need to silence the critics. Just walk. Just keep walking in what God has already released over your life. Because your breakthrough is not for show. It's for purpose. D will have no choice but to say, look what the Lord has done. Just keep walking. There's a moment when all the pain, all the quiet work, all the hidden faith finally begins to rise. A moment when the things you've been praying for, sowing for, crying over in silence start to unfold without you having to say a word. You won't need to explain how you made it. You won't need to recount every storm, every betrayal, every setback, because your breakthrough will say for you. You've been in the background long enough. You've stayed silent, not because you had nothing to say, but because you knew that not every season is meant for speaking. Some seasons are meant for building. Some seasons are meant for surviving. Some are for digging deep and laying foundation. And while others were shouting to elevate you, there will be no question who opened the door. Because you didn't scheme your way there. You didn't manipulate your way there. You didn't compromise to be accepted. You stood, you believed, you endured, you stayed silent and let God do the talking. And when he speaks, when he moves, when he blesses, you won't have to say, look at me. They'll already see it. The glory, the grace, the strength on your life will be undeniable. You'll walk in a room and shift the atmosphere, not because you demanded it, but because heaven confirmed it. That's why you had to go through what you went through. That's why the journey was long. That's why the process was painful, because God didn't want to just give you something. He wanted to make you into something. You thought it was about the destination, but he was working. Others were performing while others were trying to be seen. You were becoming quietly, privately, stronger. You see, there is a difference between being overlooked and being hidden. When people overlook you, that's their mistake. But when God hides you, that's his mercy. He covers you in a season where visibility could kill you. He shelters you in a season where visibility could kill you. He shelters you while he develops you, because what you carry is too heavy to be exposed too early. And what he's doing in you, what he's birthing in you, isn't for temporary applause, it's for eternal impact. So don't be discouraged by the silence. Don't resent the season when nobody's calling your name. That's the season when your roots are going deeper than your reputation. That's when your spirit is growing stronger than your status. And when God gets ready to bring you out, when he gets ready,